Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for round 2 of the CRubennnn Trophy Cup. Qualifying is just finished. And we're going to start right away with race 1. I'm joined here in the commentary booth by
myself, Lloyd. How are you doing in that one?
I'm doing quite good. It looks like the drivers themselves are all ready to go on track. A little bit of a late start here for us, but we have Arc Dan's in pole position for the first race. Beckham in second, Ynir in third, Mermaid Bubble fourth, ERA Nerg fifth, Crow sixth, Kev seventh, and Arc Maddie in eighth. As we see the lights starting to go on now, and we see Dan's, I should say, starting to get away from the rest of the field. Just need to look behind as we go into turn 1 here. We have Beckham on the outside, but braking a bit early to try to take away the inside line from Ynir to hold his position as they head into Druids now. Looks like Ynir, slightly defensive line over Mermaid Bubble, but will hold that third place. Looking farther back in the field, we see some 2 wide going on through some of the field. Let's get some action here. 3 wide there. There's a bit of a contact between, looks like the Stig and the Benitos as they head down at the exit of Druids. Lots of fighting towards the back of the pack here, but at the front, very clean. 3 wide as they go through Surtees there. Looks like the Stig will get the better of them. Looks like a bit of a drag race here between Maddie and the Stig for that 7th place, and now Ruben getting into the mix for that 9th place between him and CRubennnn. And up at the front, it seems fairly single file, but a bit of a 2 wide here. Looks like the Stig will get the better of Maddie, and the Crow will hold on to that 9th place, but Ruben not quite letting him get away.
It's such a lovely sight to see all 14 cars on track, isn't it? It's so nice to see. Very good start from a few drivers. I can see one in particular. CRubennnn nearly lost it at what's that corner there? It's Sheens. Nearly lost it, but held it together.
Oh, Maddie did lose it though.
Oh, Maddie lost his Sterlings. Oh, nearly came on to FBEF.
Let's see what happened here with a bit of a replay. Oh, he just goes.
Oh, and the Stig went.
Oh, there was contact with the Stig after he came back on track.
Oh, so that could be a bit of a warning for the Stig for coming back on track at a dangerous part of the track there, wasn't it?
Could possibly be. Already 2 laps in. You might have something the stewards might need to look at after this race is finished. But back at the front of the pack, it seems like Dan's starting to make a big gap to Beckham in 2nd place with Ynir right behind him in 3rd. 2-second gap to Mermaid Bubble in 4th, Nerg in 5th, Kev in 6th, Ruben up into 7th, good start from him, with a bit of a gap behind him to Benitos and Warrico in 9th, Crow in 10th, Evbev behind him in 11th, Maddie after his incident in 12th, and the Stig 13th, and ACZ Alex back in 14th.
Now, we've seen in last week's race that Dan's didn't race last week, so he's a newcomer to this, but we know what Dan's is like. He's a Season 1 champion. And he was the previous winner. Oh, he's gone off! Excellent
job from Dan's to hold on to that. All 4 wheels off the track in a very difficult corner. One that's been known to catch out a lot of drivers, but managed to hold it off. But now Beckham sees the mistake and wants to capitalize it.
Yeah, Sheens is a blind corner. It's very difficult. Here comes Beckham. He's going to go around the outside, go for the race lead here.
Get a bit of an onboard camera here. He looks to go to the outside through Paddock Hill, but not quite going to make that work. It's not an easy corner to try and pass the outside, but he's going to get the run. Dan's going to have to go defensive as they head into Druids. Beckham going to look to go around the outside. Not an easy move to make, and will fall back behind.
I was just about to say, when Dan's had that massive moment there, that Dan's is a previous winner around at Brands when we did the GT3 race. With his then teammate Darkreef Slav that finished the 2nd when Dan was driving the Lexus. So Dan knows this terrain around this track very well.
That he does, but still trying to get a bit of a gap here. A bit of a twitch from Dan's there. A little bit of a late move over the outside to get a better line as they go through Hawthorns there. It seems to have fairly spaced out at the front. Let's look farther back towards the mid-pack here. Back on board with looks to be Maddie, CRubennnn, and Evbev and Warrico here in 8th, heading that small pack. Mostly single file throughout most of the field right now. 21 minutes remaining left in this race. And for those of you that might just be joining us for this little side series we happen to be running here at Adrenaline Racing Community. It's a 1-make series here in these CRubennnn Trophy Cup cars. Bit of an interesting rule set for this season too, as the first race here, it's a two-race round, as we should say. So there is technically 8 races in the season, but there's only 4 rounds. We run the races back-to-back with reverse grids for the second race. As we see Evbev there going very wide in that 9th place. Controlling the car from a spin, though. Good job from him. Good car control. But back to the topic I was just on. The second round is run a bit differently aside from it being a reverse grid based on the finishing order of the first race. It also, as we see, Benito making a very large mistake there. So much action just happening, I just can't get my words out now.
He's lost it again. Benito's lost it again on the exit of Druid, so Benitez seems to be struggling with that rear end of the car. He's made multiple mistakes.
He's very slow to get away now. Might be having some.
Someone's gone off. Someone's gone off further ahead. It might be the stick that had a little moment.
I think Benito's might be having a couple of technical difficulties there. But,
yeah, stick went very wide at Surtees. I just hit the tyre wall on the inside. Got front end damage though, but he'll get on with it.
But back to what I was talking about again. The interesting part for the second race is that all drivers are mandated to use 2 compounds, both the mediums and the soft tire, so you get that varying strategy. And then when you add that reverse grid into the mix, as we saw in the round 1, it made for a very interesting and exciting second race.
Yes, it did, in which Evbev won that race last week from a hard-charging Alex Rogers, who won the first race. Alex is currently the points leader coming into this race, but surprisingly not racing today. So championship is a little bit wide open, especially for Beckham, because he comes into this second in the points, so far second in this race, so he will definitely take the points lead after this first race. But yeah, the second race was really exciting. I'm just hoping that this race, especially around this track, considering how tight it is, tight, twisty, not a lot of space on this track too, it should be pretty epic, the second race.
That it should be. Brands Hatch, a historic and also slightly notorious track for the difficulty it brings. When you see that layout in the top right of your screen, it doesn't look too difficult, but when you add the elevation changes and a lot of the blind corners it brings, it is not easy. As we see a driver just like CRubennnn there going very wide through that corner, but getting away with it. As we've seen already several times throughout this race, it's very easy to make a mistake here.
Just noticing there, looking at a replay, Alex Gaming went off at what is that? Cooper Straight. He must have lost it, and he just went into the back of the stick too. The stick just stopped. I don't know if he was trying to let Alex Gaming by, but yeah, interesting. Sorry. Anyway, back to the live action review, Lateral.
Back at the front of the field, Dance has a 1.6 second lead over Beckham in second with 1.7, separating him and Guinier with just under a second. It was just for a moment. Mermaid Bubble in 4th place. I want to showcase a little bit of the highlight of Mermaid Bubble. A new driver here to the ARC. We saw him at round 1 with a very strong finish. Finishing, I believe it was 3rd place after passing, I believe it was Guinier for that 3rd place on the last corner.
No, it was Beckham. It was Beckham.
Beckham, excuse me.
The last one. Yeah.
But Mermaid Bubble new to the ARC, but still very quick. He seems to be more consistent with his pace rather than doing it in bursts, as we've seen someone like Kev do or Alex Rogers. He seems to be very quick throughout the course of the race. And one thing I do want to point out with him is in that first race that we saw in round 1, in that race we do not mandate the use of both compound tires. And yet he thought that rule was in place. It was his mistake. So he started the race on those medium tires, but he still finished within the top 5 despite being on a slower compound tire.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he started the race on mediums and then went into the soft tires. He pretty much came out in 4th place. I mean, he did finish 4th and 3rd those 2 races, but yeah, Mermaid very, very consistent. And he's sitting in a very solid 4th place. Seems to be sort of closing to the back of Janier, but I mean, Kevin's looking a bit racy behind him in 5th. But Mermaid Bubble very consistent so far, and hopefully, if he could do that for season 3, whatever tier he in, he could be a threat.
I would very much agree with you, Mermaid Bubble, the former PCR factory driver for PCR karting. So he has a lot of experience under his belt on the actual racetrack in real life, as opposed to some of the other drivers in ARC that have a lot more experience of sim racing, similar to Lemon Pen, who does not happen to be here in this championship right now. So ARC covers a lot of different histories or forms of racing here, Mermaid Bubble being one of karting background. But it looks to catch right up on the back of Yanier after he's made a mistake, so possible third place here for Mermaid Bubble if he can stay on the back of Yanier.
It's just going through Sheens, this difficult blind right-hand corner there, definitely looking racy as Bubble. Yanier was a little bit tentative, go through Sheens into Sterling's, and then onto clearways, and then into Clark Curve, the final corner. But yeah, it's like a three-car battle. If Kev can just tag onto the back of this battle for third, then we've got a three-car battle for third place now.
We do 15 minutes left in this race out of 25 minutes, almost at the halfway point. Pit stops should be coming up soon. Mermaid Bubble trying to take a slightly wider line through Druid.
He's going to have the inside going into Druids.
Now he's going to have the inside line. Late break on the inside. That's a karting move. Side by side on the exit. That will give Yanier the inside, but he will concede the position. Mermaid Bubble will take that third place. We've seen the background now. Kev going very wide, trying to carry the speed out of the exit of that corner. That's going to cost him.
Yeah, Kev took a bit too much speed from Graham Hill.
Mermaid Bubble with an excellent pass up into third place. Good job from him. We'll see if he starts to pull away from Yanier in fourth place.
Looking further back through the field, Ruby Booby's having a bit of a lonesome battle with himself. 4.1 behind the guy in sixth now, and 4.5 the guy ahead of him, Rorico. I think Rorico raced in first race. We didn't see Rorico because he was in the other racing, but yeah, Rorico solidly in that 8th position, ahead of some more experienced TNA drivers like Matty, who's actually racing for the first time, isn't he?
That he is. Matty had a... Whoa, as you just mentioned it! You just had to mention his name.
I'm just not going to say any name whatsoever now.
As he goes through Sheen, just dips a tire on the exit of Sheen and loses the rear end of the car. Goes back to my point about Brands Hatch being a notoriously difficult track with its blind corners. Looks like Matty's going to make his pit stop right now.
Matty's definitely going into the pit lane. Yep, just gone 13 minutes left in the race. He's first to make a pit stop, I believe.
And he will be the first to make a pit stop, going for that undercut, trying to make up some position on some of the drivers in front of him. We'll see if that works out from him later on. Looks like there's another driver entering the pits at the back of the pack right now. It looks to be the Stig. His pit stop, also going for the undercut back at the front of the field. Dans and Beckham have pulled away from that third place battle of Mermaid Bubble and Junior. So a bit of breathing room for the both of them. Make that pit stop. The race will come into its own in the second half. That's where things are going to make a change here. Who can gain time in the pit stop? Who has saved fuels? We see Mermaid Bubble just going through Sterling's now. 3.5 seconds to Beckham in front of him.
I think Dan should be making his pit stop there now, which he is, because his front left is looking worse for wear. So the leader, Dan's in the pit lane. Beckham looks like he's staying out.
One thing to notice is the amount of fuel that Dans has used compared to a lot of the other drivers. Like 37% you see against Kevmeister's 42% you see on the left side of the screen. You see Ruben's 50%. A lot of the other drivers using a lot less fuel than Dans.
Yeah, I think that's just because he's been pushing the car around this track. This is a very technical track with, like he says, with the undulations, the oversteer, the understeer around this track. So it's, I don't know, you just got to hope and pray that Dan's put enough fuel in that car. Like we seen what happened with Cro-Magnon last week. He didn't have enough fuel to last the finish. He was coasting around the start finish line. And also memorably as well, Rubens at Saint Croix back at race 5, season 2, I believe it was. So yeah, important for Dan. He might lose the lead though to Beckham. It just depends if Beckham has saved up a bit more fuel than what Dan's has done.
We'll see how that ends up, as not Beckham will make his pit stop shortly here. The gap, 12.5 seconds to Dan's, will slowly come down over the course of a lap as Dan's has a fresh set of rubber under his Renault. One thing
what, the guy said the guy sitting in third, Rico, his tyres are pretty much down at halfway, and he is yet to make a pit stop. And he's only just gone down halfway in all, so, but although considering that he hasn't gone for the undercut. So it's just that, I think the leader's in, yeah, Beckham's in, and he's down to 30%. So this could be interesting. Well, Dan's or Beckham come out in the lead.
Dance did pit a lap earlier, so that means there was more fuel in the car. He's already exiting the pit lane. It's going to be side by side as they exit the pit lane. He went to the mediums. That's an interesting choice.
Yeah, he went to the medium tyres. He's lost the lead though, but that's a interesting call. With 10 minutes to go, why would you change to mediums?
It's a hard question to ask. Before the race, I do know a question was asked if multiple compounds had to be used for this race. One, which they are not. It is only race 2 where they are mandated to use both compounds. So it's an interesting choice for Beckham to go on the slower tire compared to Dan's when he's only got one more lap of wear.
Yeah, and Dan's is racing with the soft tyres, so I think, well, although saying that, what we said last week with what you said about Mermaid Bubble, he kept in touch with the other guys that was racing with the soft tyres. I wonder if that's the case that Beckham is going for that strategy. Who knows?
It could be possible he is playing the long game with this one. You might expect some of the other softer drivers' tires to wear out towards the end of the stint and his tires to start to maintain its life a little bit longer. So that could be what he's gambling on. But he's going to have to try and get the most out of them that he can now so Dance doesn't pull away.
But one thing that I did notice with Beckham with the last week's race when he was started on those medium tyres, that he said that in the Discord chat was he didn't like racing with the medium tyres. He struggled around the Dragon Trail. This track, however, it could be a bit, you know, it's not as. It's like, I don't know.
There aren't as many hard braking zones with tight turn-in corners. Dragon Trail we've seen has the Kraken chicane, a lot of corners like Cerberus and Basilisk, corners that require hard braking and cars to turn in very tight to make the apex. You don't really have that here. It's a lot more wide sweeping corners, so maybe the mediums might be a bit more effective here.
Well, looking at the gap then, he came out, what was it, side by side? You notice the gap between Dan's and Beckham is now up to 3.2 and it's rising. So I think that might be a bit of a mistake on Beckham's part. Not unless he wants to just consolidate that second place finish.
It could be, but the gap behind him also hasn't really dropped at all either. He is managing to hold off Mermaid Bubble, who is still battling with Yanir after they made their pit stops. So the gap not really increasing, not really falling. It's just more of, I think it's more of a maintaining effort. He's not out there to win, he's out there to gain points, and that second place is still very strong points.
And he will come out as the points leader after this race, considering that Alex Rogers is not racing today.
That he will, but we see a little bit of a battle here starting on track for that third place. It looks like Kevin Meister wants to slowly get involved in it. 4/10 between Mermaid Bubble and Engineer for that third place as they go through the last corner of the track, Clark Curve, named after the famous Formula 1 driver Jim Clark. Now onto the Brabham Straight. Still Mermaid Bubble will have the lead, 4/10 still separating them.
They are actually closing on Beckham. It was about 4.5 or 4.1. It's down to 3.3. So 7 minutes to go. 3.3 seconds is definitely doable. Beckham is, looks like to me, he is struggling on those medium tyres. Oh, he's just literally went very wide at Graham Hill Bend. That pack of three are coming.
That they are, but they have to work together if they want to make sure they can take that second place from Beckham. 3.6 now separates second and third. The only time it seemed that the time dropped between them was in that last sector, which is a more tight and technical sector. So we'll see if that gap will continue to come down. But one thing to know is that Kevin Meister has finally caught up to the back of Yanir. It is now a 3-car battle for third place.
We need to keep our eyes on this though. I think racing with the soft tyres, it's a lot more easier to steer the car with those soft tyres. I think Cro-Magnus had a bit of an off.
Yeah, he has. Off at Surtees there. I think braked himself or maybe got in the grass and spun the car.
That's shades of G. Thanks Obama back in season 1.
That's a name we haven't heard in a while here on the ARC.
No, we haven't. I hope he's watching that. Hello, thanks Obama. Hope you're doing well.
Back to this battle for third place. 3.2 now to Beckham. They gained 4/10 on that last lap with 5.5 minutes remaining. Will they gain enough time to make that pass?
I think it's possible. I definitely believe it's possible that Mermaid, Junior, and Kev will catch up to Beckham. Beckham, oh, Kev again, going wide on the exit of Graham Hill. He's got to be careful because he might spin that car around.
Let's go on board with Kev as we go on board with Kev as he follows Junior and Mermaid Bubble as they try to catch up to the back of Beckham. He is in sight, and that is important for any driver that's trying to catch up to the person in front of him on track. Having that driver in your sight lines is...
There he goes, he's going to the inside.
Yep, great move from Kevmeister there. Just a textbook pass on Junior, dive up the inside. But now he has 1.4 seconds to Mermaid Bubble, and Mermaid Bubble now will not have any help from the drivers behind him to try and catch up to Beckham.
Mermaid Bubble is now less than 3 seconds behind Beckham.
But back to my previous point, for a driver, it is very important to have the driver you're actually trying to catch in front of you. Having him actually in your sightlines is a lot more mentally motivating to you as a driver than trying to race against having nothing in front of you. And when you can see every lap that gap closing and closing and closing, it's easier for you to go faster and faster and faster.
And it's also tough as well if you're the guy that's leading like a free car battle like what Mermaid is. Would he be more concentrating, looking back at his mirror to see where the others are behind instead of focusing ahead, trying to catch up with Beckham in second?
I believe yes, he would. It's one of those balancing acts that you also have to learn as a driver, of managing not only the gap in front of you to try and close it down, but managing the drivers behind you that are also racing and want to take your position. You have to do that balancing act of, I have to be fast through this corner, but not leave an opening for the driver behind me to go by. But now that he has that gap, he's already opened it up to 1.8 seconds, so he's already starting to pull away, and I would expect the gap to Beckham to start closing lap after lap here.
Which it is, it's nearly down to 2 seconds, so Mermaid is on a charge. He did set his fastest lap of what he's done, Bubble, with a 26.1, so he is definitely catching to Beckham. Beckham is struggling around with those medium tyres again, like he did at Dragon Trail last week, but it's now less than 2 seconds. It's going to be sooner rather than later that Beckham's second place is on the fret.
But another thing to note is how hard is Mermaid Bubble pushing his tires to try and close that gap. We saw this back in Season 1 when Kev was trying to close up to the back of CRubennnn at the Monza race. He was closing lap after lap after lap, but within the last 2 laps remaining, his tires were dead and he couldn't close that gap anymore. Mermaid Bubble has to be sure he doesn't fall into that same position. 1.7 seconds now to Beckham in that second place. The gap is still closing, but we don't know exactly how bad Mermaid Bubble's tires are compared to Beckham's. Actually, compared to the tire wear, they're not that much different. Mermaid Bubble seems to be doing excellently well on his tire management. .5 seconds now to Beckham for the second place. 2 minutes remaining in this race. Will Mermaid Bubble be able to close the gap and take second place from Beckham? Mermaid Bubble, a very strong driver here in the ARC as he tries to hold off the 2 hard-driving drivers behind him now. The gap has slightly fallen to Kevmeister for that third place.
I'll give a shout out as well to Junior. We didn't see a lot of Junior in the first race because he made mistakes after mistakes, and he did finish poorly in the first races, but then he had the sign sitting in third place. He's now, on course for his best finish of the season, the top 5. So shout out to Junior for that.
I think another person to note in this battle is actually Kevmeister. He's managed to pull away from Junior behind him and is starting to actually catch Mermaid Bubble for that third place. It's less than a second gap between them.
Oh yes, it is. I'm just trying to look at those lap times. Who is the faster? Yeah, Bubble did a 1:27.3 the last lap, and Kev did a 1:26.6. So yeah, Kev is looks like he is a man on a mission now, isn't he?
That they are, and it's 1 minute remaining. I don't know if they'll have enough time to start another lap yet, but it looks like Beckham may be a little wide to the corner, so is Kev. That's going to cost him a bit of time. It's going to be close coming down to the wire here in race 1.
Will they have enough time to do another lap? That's very close, actually. They might have to do another lap. Looking where Dan's is now, he's just gone through Westfield, just gone through Sheen. So I believe, to my calculations, we will have another lap of racing left.
Well, we will have to see. Dan's might have another lap left, but Beckham, Mermaid Bubble, and Kevin Meister might not.
Ooh, this is close. 20 seconds to go. Dan's is approaching Clark Curve.
Back on board with Kev Meister as he's all over the back bumper of Mermaid Bubble, who is slowly but surely catching up to Beckham. The gap has fallen more slowly as time has gone on. Mermaid Bubble with slightly more wear as tires 4 seconds before they cross the line. Will they have enough time?
Oh!
They don't! No, wait! No, they do.
Beckham crossed the line and Bubble hasn't. So Bubbles just took second.
Did Beckham run out of fuel? No, he didn't. Did Beckham brake before? Did Beckham brake before the line? Did he think he had second place and then brake before the line?
Oh, he had a tasty bit of fuel left in his car, but I don't know. That surprised me. That I really don't know.
I think Beckham might have celebrated just a bit too early, and that cost him position to Mermaid Bubble, who is now in second place.
Wow, that is certainly interesting there. I don't think I've seen that before.
I don't think I've ever seen that happen before either.
So that's going to take a win easy, and Bubble is going to take second place pretty much on the line.
Yeah, congratulations for Dan. His first race here in the McGain Trophy Cup will score a win in his first race. Congratulations to him. A large gap to second place of just over 9 seconds. The Mermaid Bubble taking that second place at the line with Beckham in third, Kev Meister in fourth, Engineer rounding out your top 5.
That's definitely going to be talked in the Discord chat, I have to say. Bubble's coming across the line to finish in second place. Best finish of the season there for Bubble. But yeah, definitely a very strange ending to that race.
Definitely is, but we'll see how things turn out for the second race here. Congratulations to Dan's for not only taking that pole position and the fastest lap, but scoring the win for round 1. But that means he will start at the back for race 2. And we'll be back just momentarily, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
back.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for race 2 with a reverse grid and a rolling start. Dan's won the race 1 here, so that means he will be starting at the back of the grid. We have ACZ's Alex starting on pole, followed by ERE, Stig, Wariko in 3rd, Benito's 4th, Crow in 5th, Evbev 6th, Maddie in 7th, ERA Nerd 8th, Ruben 9th, Unir 10th, Kev, get the rest of this grid here, Kev in 11th, Beckham in 12th, Mermaid in 13th, and Dan's our winner, starting back in 14th. Rolling start here at Brands Hatch. And an interesting thing to note, Evbev, the winner of race 2, round 1, started the race on pole and managed to hold pole position throughout the entire race up until the last lap. Really only managed to beat Alex Rogers by only 2/10. So even though ECZ Alex might be starting a pole and he didn't seem too quick in the first race, anything could happen here. Don't expect him to maybe fall too far back in the field, as we are underway now past the first corner and looking like Stig is looking very racy for that first position. Looking farther back in the field, we have Benito's looking to move up position up into 4th place from Crow Bagner, doing an excellent job to hold that position, but we see Evbev starting to get involved in that battle there. Looking farther back in the field, looks like Dan's has already made his way by Mermaid Bubble for that 13th position as he sets Beckham his next car in the sights.
Oh, wow. Sorry, that Benito's had a massive moment on the exit of Graham Hill Bend. He's not as a result, but he's kept it going though. He's not spun the car.
Not yet, but this is where we see all the action start to happen. All the fast drivers trying to catch up to the back of the slow drivers and take positions here. As look to be almost going too wide as they go through Hawthorns and now head into Westfields. We see Yanir getting a little bit of a peek back behind them there. See if we can get on board with Yanir, the lead driver of the faster drivers here. We see the giant pack of cars. They're all the faster drivers. They're all nose to tail. It was like Kev looked to stick his nose on the inside of Yanir as they went through Sterling's, but not quite be able to make that move done. Looks like Dan's is looking to make a pass on Beckham, but Beckham trying to move his car, position his car so Dan's can't get by. It looks like Beckham actually getting away by Kevmeister, and looks like Dan's is going to go with him.
It looks like Kev. Are they 3 wide?
That they are. Beckham will have the inside.
Yellow flag.
Kev's on the outside. There is a yellow flag. It looks to be Wariko that seemed to spin on the first corner.
Yeah, Wariko's down to last place, I believe. I'll check a replay, see what happened there.
As there's another spin in front of us here. Let's see the driver it was. It looks like Evbev managed to spin on the exit of Druids. There's another spin going. It seems to be Alex, our race leader, spun in Graham Hill Bend.
Just looking at Wariko there, he spun from 3rd place. He lost it on the entrance of Paddock Hill Bend. Big off though, but disappointment for Wariko. And Alex Gaiman has lost the lead. Went down to last place, so something happened to Alex Gaiman.
I called the spin. Don't worry, I got it.
Oh, did you? Okay, my apologies.
But look, there's still this like, almost 6-car battle for that 9th or 10th place. Excuse me, of CRubennnn, as we see Kev going very wide, trying to control the car, get it back on track. That's going to cost him a good couple of positions there, as we see Evbev all at the back of him now. But looking farther back of the field, we see CRubennnn just trying to slowly work his way up the field as we see him just behind Janir, who went very wide at the exit of Sterling.
It's just action from like top to bottom. It's hard to look to see what's happening.
This is the kind of action you get when you use those reverse grids for these two race rounds. As we see Dan trying to look around the outside through Paddock Hill. He's still side by side, and he gets the move done.
Oh, what a pass from Dan. He is a Brands Hatch master. Beckham's going to the inside of Druids of Ruby, and he's got 7th place.
Now, another thing to mention, some of the drivers have started on the medium tire. What are those drivers again, Savoy?
Okay, right, so at the moment it's Kev, Nerg, Janir, Bubble, Stig, Beckham, Alex, Gaming, and Ruby are all on the medium tires. Rico, Crow, Benito's, Dan's, Matty, and Evbev are all running on soft tires. And you can see Dan's is looking incredibly racy. He's going for 5th place, going around the outside of Hawthorns and Janir. Now he's going to have to cut back to the inside. No, he's not. He's going to stay behind Janir. But Dan's looking incredibly racy so far. He's going to get it. He's going to make an overtake at Sheens. This is not a good place to overtake someone, and he's got it done. What a pass from Dance. He is a Brands Hatch bastard there, Lado.
That he is. Dan's showing why he was Season 1 champion here in the ARC season. You see him just look up
Sticks lost the lead. Sticks lost the lead. Sorry to cut you off there, but Sticks lost the lead. Maybe he had a moment. Oh, he had a penalty. He picked up a penalty that he shortcut at Sheen's. I don't know, but Cro-Magnus now inherited the lead. Back to you.
Back to Matty, who see him in second. Stig trying to hold off Benito's for that third place, but Dan's in that hard-charging fifth place. But will that come back to bite him in the second half of the race? You'll have to pit earlier than all the other drivers to get a new set of rubber onto that car, and that also means he will have to use a bit more fuel as we see the Stig. And Benito's getting into it. There's a bit of a contact there. Benito's now back in the pack. Let's get a bit of a replay to see what happens there as they went through Druids. Did he try to make a dive bomb pass on the inside? He looks like he did.
Yeah, it was a dive bomb
And there
pass.
was contact.
But, unbelievable racing so far.
I think Benito's trying to make that dive bomb pass work, missed a gear, and fell back several positions there. But we see him back
Look
in
at the battle for sixth. This is incredible. This is amazing.
as we see, it looks like Beckham trying to lead that pack, that almost a 6-car battle for 6th place there, which led by Beckham, followed by CRubennnn, Benito's, Mermaid Bubbles, Nerg, and Evbev.
It's a 24-wheel disaster for 6th place. Beckham nearly touched the gravel on the exit of Hawthorne, I believe that was.
Looks to be, but now they're starting to sort it out just a little bit. It looks like Mermaid Bubble or Nerg is trying to get a little bit of a head of Mermaid Bubble, but Mermaid Bubble actually makes a bit of a mistake at the exit of Sheen. Let's see if we
Vance is going for 3rd place. He's going on the outside of the stick in Clark Curve. Oh, has he got it? He's done it again. How is he passing cars around the outside?
This is Dan's. I don't know if this is his home track or not, but Dan's he's letting himself out. Like, Dan's means business in this championship. He finished 2nd in season 2 of the season 2 of our GR3 championship series. Now he's here in the McGee after missing round 1, and he wants as many points as possible. He wants to stick it to Alex Rogers, who's not able to be here this race.
I don't think Alex Rogers was sitting in 3rd place. Shania's one ride. Penalty for the stake. He must have did he one ride in the exit of Druids? I can't mind. But yeah, I don't think Alex Rogers was sitting in 3rd place after 5 laps last week.
No, he wasn't, and he almost took the lead on the last lap, and he received Dan's already in 3rd place.
And also note there was only 11 people that raced last week. There's a full 14 cars, so Dan's has made 11 passes in 5 laps.
Now, he is on those soft tires when a lot of the other drivers in front of him are on the medium tire. So, he has
he's catching up to he's catching to Crow, and he's on soft tires. Matty, what's Matt running again? Matty is on. He's also on soft tires at all. So, and Shania, what tire? Shania's on the medium. So if he could pull like a big gap away from Shania on back, he could have a double win here.
That he could, but again, I have mentioned this earlier. Will charging this hard in the first stint cost him in the second? Will he be using more fuel than some of the other drivers that are saving fuel now? Means he'll have to pit earlier, which means he'll have to take on more fuel to make it to the end. So this could cost him, but he's going to have to make up as many positions as much time as he can now to try and make it work. It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, looking at the top 3 fuel, it looks to me that Dan's is using the most fuel out of those top 3. So yeah, that could play a bit of an issue there. Benito's has run extremely wide. Near the end, he goes off again. Clips one of the polystyrene boards.
So Benito's falling back to 12th place after that mistake at Graham Hill Bend, but back on board with the Mermaid Bubble as he leads a pack for 7th place. 4-car battle for 7th. Mermaid Bubble started in 2nd last place for this race here. Already worked his way up to 7th place after making a bit of a mistake at the start. So good recovery drive from him, but we still have halfway to go. We see Dan's trying to all over the back of Cro-Magnon for that 2nd place. Yenier up into 4th. Beckham behind him in 5th, and Ruben in 6th. So it's a good recovery drive from Ruben as well. A driver we haven't highlighted too much today. But Pirelli Picasso doing his best to try and maintain that consistency.
Look at Beckham, he started 13th, he's already up to 5th. I don't know, I want to see this battle for 7th place. What's happened now? There's a big gap developed now. The stick must have made a mistake, because I noticed a few seconds ago, the stick was all over the back of the bubble, and he's fallen back to 9th. So there's a bit of a gap now developing between Bubble down to 11th place now.
Well, as you say that, Dan's made an excellent pass on CRubennnn. He set up the car through the exit of Paddock Hill and took it through Druids. Excellent move by him. We had some great camera angles for that one. Don't need a replay of it. We're looking farther back into 4th place. Junior still trying to hold off Beckham.
Oh, Crow spun it! Crow spun it! Spun it 30s. He clipped the tire. He clipped the white line when he was braking.
He just went too wide on entry. He put two tire, the right rear tire in the grass in the braking zone, and grabbed the car and spun around, and he falls all the way back to 9th place.
And Stig's gone back up to 8th. This is like strings and roundabouts. There's one time I seen Stig in 11th, back up to 8th. Now didn't FBev made a mistake early on? He's up to 7th.
That he has. Brands Hatch trying to catch out those drivers, trying to push the limits. But right now we have Matty in the lead. That's not a sight you normally see here in the ARC, but Matty currently leading the McGain Trophy Cup race, but Dan's has him in his sights and will not let him pull away. Junior up into 3rd with Beckham and follow right behind. Ruben up into 5th place. Good recovery from him with Mermaid Bubble in 6th with a bit of a gap behind him. Oh, Medbev, excuse me, right behind him with a bit of a gap, as you mentioned, to 8th place of the Stig.
Just look at what lap times that Matt is doing. He's doing consistent 127s to his Dan's, but a couple of laps ago he did a 26, and Matty did a 27. But Dan's is always gone wide at Graham Hill.
That he has been manages to maintain control of the car. That speaks to his skill of him as a driver. As we see back in the battle for 3rd place, looks like Junior or Evbev trying to go up the inside or outside. Looks like there was an outside pass from Junior. Was that a defensive move or was that a pass?
That was a defensive move. He was in 3rd and he must have ran wide at 30s. Beckham had a look on the inside, but Junior would have had the speed off the corner.
That's an excellent defense. You don't normally see people defending their position around the outside of a corner.
Especially around here too. I mean, it's not a lot of straightaways. This track, it's just mostly full of corners and that. But yeah, Junior done extremely well to, protect his 3rd place finish. I mean, position it out.
That he has, but what has happened to Ruben? He's already fallen back to 7th place. Both Mermaid Bubble and Evbev have managed to get by him with a big gap. So Ruben might have made a mistake somewhere. Sorry we didn't quite catch that, but it looks like Matty is making his pit stop now.
Yeah, Ruben must his rear end got loose at Westfield. Next place lost a couple of spots.
But we see what was our leader making his pit stop now. He's going to come onto the mediums, take a bit of fuel, and looks like he's going to come out in the currently 7th place, right in front of Nerg and Stig. We're battling, and there's a bit of contact. It looks like the Stig off into the gravel. What happened here? Was there contact between the two drivers? It looks like the Stig actually is Nerg. Just an excellent drive out of the last corner. We'll go up to the inside. Was there a bit of contact on turn-in, or that almost looked like Nerg didn't give him room to turn in almost?
Was that a sort of reaction for when Matty was coming out the pits?
It might have been.
That could have been a reaction to when Matty was coming out the pit lane.
It might have been. He saw him come out. He wanted to give him room, but in doing so, I think he forgot that the Stig was on his outside and just kind of took away road from him. Stig had nowhere else to go.
No, that's a bit unfortunate there for the Stig. That's definitely going to be a bit of a complainant in the ERA, considering they are teammates in the ERA.
Back to our leader, 12 minutes remaining left in this race, and Dan's currently back in the lead with a 3.2 second gap over Junior and Beckham in 3rd. Dan's yet to make his pit stop on those soft tires. They expect it to be soon. It looks like he's going in now. He is going in now, but will Beckham and Junior go in? Looks like Junior is, but Beckham is not.
Shades of the first race, Beckham was the first to come in of the top 2, and Beckham would come out, come in pits a lap later. So let's see. I'm just keeping an eye on Dan if he's changed the tyres onto mediums, which he has.
Junior changes to softs, which he has, and Evbev also changed to his mediums. So now the one to watch will be Junior. He comes out in 6th place with a fresh set of softs in those cars. A lot of the cars will have to make their pit stops to those other softs as well, but he's coming out first. So they're all the worn mediums right now, but he's on a fresh set of softs. So let's see how much time he can gain with this pit stop. Back to Beckham, currently back in the lead, 3.7 over Mermaid Bubble in second. Both drivers yet to make their pit stop. Both, I believe, on the medium tires, that they are. Actually, Mermaid Bubble's done excellent on his tire, where he could go probably another few laps without having to make his pit stop.
I don't know if I'm going to be good in Ruby's books. Do you think Mermaid Bubble was another Pablo Picasso?
Compare the tire wear. Actually, it looks like Ruben might be slightly... Actually, they're the same on tire wear. Mermaid Bubble has done the exact same amount of tire wear as CRubennnn. CRubennnn might have to defend his position of Pirelli Picasso here.
We could crown ourselves to be Pablo Picasso here, Lotto.
We could, as we see Beckham making his pit stop, and Mermaid Bubble will also make his right now.
Sorry there to interrupt you again, but Rico lost it again at the corner.
Now this is going to be the interesting part. The tires go on, the fuel goes in afterwards. You do not fuel at the same time as the tires go on, as for safety reasons. So the softs will go on, he'll put in some fuel, come out with 67% fuel. Where does he come out? Right behind CRubennnn. So CRubennnn actually managed to jump him in the pit lane. But he
how's he got a penalty? What's he got a penalty for?
I think he might have cut the corner going into the pit lane.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you got to be careful there, because it is a bit, you know, it is all full pavement there. It used to be grass, but not anymore. And you got to be very careful there that you don't shortcut it and then you get a penalty. And that must have what happened with the bubble.
It must have been. He comes out 7th with 11.6 seconds to the drivers in front of him. He comes up behind CRubennnn, who managed to actually jump him in the pit by quite a lot, by 3 seconds. So CRubennnn doing an excellent job to save that fuel.
Can I just notice to you something here? You know, Evbev, like, we've seen him go off. He went down to about 12th. Then I seen him in 8th. He's now in 4th place, and he's just put on medium tyres. Well, this is a topsy-turvy grid here. I mean, Evbev, he did win this the race 2 from last week, but this has been like a seesaw for Evbev. Like 12th, 11th, and now he's up in 4th place. But although Beckham's on the softs, isn't he? Yes, he is, and he's closing in a hurry on Evbev.
That he is. As you mentioned, he is currently on the mediums. That's because he started on the soft to gain positions. But now every driver that's been on those, started on the mediums, is now on the soft. So they're making back up the positions they lost at the start of the race. Another thing to know is Maddie's still currently... Actually, Maddie's back in the lead. What happened to Dan's to lose the lead?
Well, Matty was the first to pit, wasn't he? And he came into the pits beaten. But I don't know if the gap was closed between himself and Dan's before they made their pit stops.
Well, currently he's in the lead, and only 2 tenths separate him and Dan's. And I know Dan's has been closed, but he has Yanir starting to catch up to them in that back battle. Looks like Dan's going to look to try and make a move as they go through Pilgrim Drop here. So either side by side. Dan's going to look to the outside of Hawthorne's. Will he get that move done? Not quite close enough.
I thought Matty was going to tear it in on Dan's next week.
Now here's the thing, Dan's has to get by Matty as soon as he can, because he has Yanir looming in his mirrors. Dan started on the softs, and now he's on the medium. Yanir started on the medium, and now he's on the softs. He needs that 1 car buffer between them to try and hold on to that first place, as there's only 7.5 minutes remaining left in this race.
And now Beckham has freed himself from Evbev. He's passed him, and he's catching Janir as well.
So Dan's needs to get by Matty as soon as he can. As Matty makes a slight mistake, and now Dan's going to have a run through Brabham straight. He's going to try to make the same outside pass we saw him make earlier in the race. He will have the advantage, but Matty will late brake on the inside, and Dan's will have to check up. And no, he'll get back on the throttle. That'll give him a run, but he's going to be wide. They're still side by side going in the Druids, and look who's right there. It's Yanir. Yanir is right there.
This is a great race in here again. Another great advertisement for the ARC. But look at the run that Dan's had.
Matty doing
he's bumping him. He's giving him a love tap.
But now Yanir's looking to the inside of Dan's as he goes wide after he gave Matty that love tap. And Yanir might actually take 2nd place from Dan's. This could be disastrous for Dan's. All that hard work early in the race. He might lose it here at any moment, as Matty's doing an excellent job to try and hold up Dan's and hold on to that leader's place, as Yanir is trying to hard charge by Dan's. And then we see Beckham just in the back of the shot trying to close that gap.
Just trying to still write all these names down if they've changed their tyres, which they all have. Yes, everyone has changed their tyres. And now Ruby is all over the back of Evbev for 5th. But I think this league battle is definitely more important than that.
Maddie doing an excellent job with 6 minutes remaining to try and hold on to that lead. Maddie, I believe, now currently on the mediums as well as Dan's. So they're similar when it comes to tire wear, but historically, Dan's has been a faster driver. That's not to take any away from Maddie, but he's definitely making it hard for Dan's to get way by him. In years there, we see Beckham just closing that gap ever so much. Dan's is struggling to get by.
This is an incredible racing between the pair of them. I mean, they are putting on a good show for the ARC audience there. Oh, bit of contact!
I think Dan's did give a bit of a bump to Maddie, but there might be almost 3 wide, but Dan's going to have the inside. The stewards might have to look at that one. Maddie tries to cut away the inside. He runs into Dan's! He almost spins him!
Look at Beckham! Look at Beckham!
Yanir will take second place from Maddie, and Maddie's going to take it back. What is happening?
Oh my days, what is this all about? And Maddie holds on to second place.
And the more that Maddie sits there in second place and holds up Beckham in here, the more Dan's breaks away. He's already got a second gap over second. They have to get by Maddie as soon as he can, but after how much Dan struggled to actually get by him, they're struggling too. And we see just in the back of the shot.
Ruben and Ed
What happened to Dan's? What happened to Dan's? He fell back to 4th. Did he concede the position? I think he conceded the position.
He conceded the position because he made a bit of contact with Matty a few times, and he's just lost 3 places as a result.
Oh, Dan's almost loses it. He loses it. Dan's loses the rear end of the car through Sheen curve.
Bubbles catching him as well.
Dan's will go. It looks like Dan's tries to make a pass on Yanir at the inside and almost makes a double pass with Beckham, but makes contact and will lose the rear end of the car through Sheen.
Was that a huge mistake for Dan's to slow down and let them by? That's a huge mistake.
But now Maddie's back in the lead with 4 minutes remaining and a second gap over Yanir.
And
what is happening?
No, Ruben's going for third. And now Beckham's going to try and make a 3 wide going. Ruben still thinks better of it though. But Ed Bev, it was safe, nearly in third place. And now Bubbles catched up with them.
Yes, almost just under 4 minutes left to go, and so much has just already happened. So,
this is amazing.
As a bit of a recap to what happened to Dan's tried to make a pass going up the inside of Yanir into Sheen, or through Dingle, and then tried to also make a double pass onto Beckham through Sheen, but he wasn't quite close enough away, and he made contact. That contact caused him to go off the track and lose control of his car. And that's why we also see Beckham farther back in this battle is because of that contact.
Oh my god, we need to come down. Bev is falling down. It's down to 6th. Beckham's made a mistake. Bubbles now up into 4th.
Trying to hold off the hard charging Beckham, but Mermaid typically batter on his tires. But he has a 2.7 seconds to get to the leader as we're just under 3 minutes remaining in this race, with Maddie still in the lead and doing an excellent job to hold it.
Rubens was absolutely nowhere in this race. He's now battling for the lead with Sinead and Matty.
I think we're going to have to adopt this.
Here comes Sinead to the inside and try to kill.
No, he thinks better of it, not quite close enough. But I was going to say, I think we're going to have to adopt this format for the GR3 Championship. This is exciting.
Do you know something? I put that in the discussion with what Ronald posted in there. I actually know I said that, so hopefully I get some credit for this. This is amazing.
Not only is there a 3-car battle for the lead, looks like Yanir looks to the inside, makes contact, almost loses the rear of the car, and Ruben will go around the outside. He will capitalize, but Maddie will still hold on to it. 2 minutes remaining. Can Maddie hold on to the lead?
I tell you what, if they keep battling like this, Dan's is going to catch up to them in a hurry.
That he will, but Maddie currently still in the lead, trying to hold off. Ruben puts his car in the middle of the track as there is now a 3-car battle for 3rd place. Almost just over a minute and a half remaining left in this race. Can Maddie hold on and score his first win in the ARC?
Can we interview these people after this race? Here comes Ruby to the outside of Sheens. That's not going to work, Ruby. Just
Maddie's doing an excellent job to make his car as wide as possible. It's almost going to be a 6-car battle for the lead here.
Come on, Dan. Speaking of 7-car battle, come on, head it up.
I'm bored with Maddie as Ruben and all the other drivers behind him trying to do their best to try and make his pass on Yanir. What's happening to Yanir?
Yanir, what on earth are you doing? Oh, and Ruby's gone off. Ruby just went off.
What has just happened to Yanir? Did his wheel die? What happened?
Let's see.
no brakes. He had no brakes.
He had no brakes because he hit the grass.
No,
and
he just...
Ruby went off.
He just
Ruby
didn't...
went off at the Brabham Straight.
Oh, Mermaid Bubble's in the lead. Mermaid Bubble will take the lead.
Did the front... I don't know, but Ruby's all the way down to 9th. Yeah, I think he's out.
Did Ruben's pedals die again towards the end of the race?
I think his pedals has gone, I think. Oh, that's a disaster. Look at that, 39 seconds to go. Bubbles leading, Maddie's still holding on to second place, and Beckham all over him for third.
I think both Yanir and Ruben had a mechanical failure. Because Beckham didn't even use the brakes at all. His brakes just didn't work. I think he also had a pedal failure, same as Ruben. That's weird for two drivers with two completely different sets of wheels and pedals to fail at the exact same point in the race.
Someone spun it to Clark Kev. Oh no, Alex has spun around the Paddock Hill Pilgrim Rise. Someone is off in Clark Kev. Oh, it's Shadir.
Is it Shadir? Yes, it is. He hasn't moved.
Yes, he's out.
Nope, he's moving now. Maddie's still doing an excellent job back here at the lead as we're on the final lap now. This is the final lap. Maddie doing as much as he can to try and hold on to the podium position, but he's going to lose it to Beckham. But will he also lose it to Evbev, who's in fourth? He's late break. They're both break late. He goes wide. He'll have the run, but will Beckham get the inside line? They're side by side. Less than 1,000 separate them. Who is the lead? Who is in the lead? It's Maddie!
Maddie got second. I didn't want this race to end, Claro. I really didn't. That was an incredible race.
Mermaid Bubble will take the win in race 2, followed by Arc Maddie. A fantastic drive from Maddie to try and hold off so many of the faster, hard-charging drivers. Excellent job from Beckham to battle throughout those packs, and Evbev will come across the line and finish 4th. Danz will finish 5th after both Yanir and Ruben have seemingly had mechanical failures. Kev Meister will come home 6th, Benito 7th, Stig 8th, Crow 9th. Ruben will finish his race in 10th place, Warrico 11th, Nerg 12th, ACZ Alex be the last one to cross the line in 13th with Yanir seemingly being almost a DNF here.
Whew, we can all calm down now. What's the YouTube champion saying about that finish then?
It's fucking... They're going insane. Excuse my language, but it's going crazy.
Oh my days.
Congratulations to Mermaid Bubble. He will capitalize on the chaos that was the last 5 minutes of that race. Congratulations to every driver. Congratulations for Maddie for finally having his best finish here in the ARC. And we're only halfway through this season.
Can we vote for the season 3 to start reverse grid as well? I'm for that.
That was insane. But thank you everyone for joining us. That'll be it for us here today. We both need a break. My throat's a little sore, and I think yours is a little sore too, probably.
Yes, it is, yeah. And it's like that every week when I'm commentating.
But we have half the season left to go. We'll be back next week for, what track does it happen to be on? Is it Tokyo? Or is that the last race?
I forgot to check. It's one of the two anyways.
Well,
no, can we not race at Brands again for next week?
Well, if the season is anything to go by, it's been just so exciting to watch across everything we've been. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for this, what happens to turn out to be a very exciting series. We'll be back next Sunday. Don't go anywhere. Again, same format, same time. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for racing, and good night.